So, good morning and good evening. Let's begin with the Friday study circle, in which we are reading passages of the Sunlit path, reading and aspiring that we can incorporate more and more of what we are reading, what we are understanding into our lives. Invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's presence as we begin this session. So last week we had spent a good amount of time on this passage. One chooses to be weak. And this week we will be starting the passage titled To Fall Back into Error. So yeah, it's a short one. And Deepa, would you like to read?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. To fall back into error, which one knows to be an error. To make a mistake once again, which one knows to be a mistake. This seems to me fantastic. It is a long time, well, at least relatively by human reckoning. It is a long time I have been on earth, and I have not yet been able to understand that. It seems to me impossible. Wrong thoughts, wrong impulses, inner and outer falsehood, things which are ugly, base, so long as one does them or has them through ignorance. Ignorance is there in the world. One understands, one is in the habit of doing them. It is ignorance. One does not know that it ought to be otherwise. But the moment the knowledge is there, the light is there, the moment one has seen the thing as it is, how can one do it again? That I do not understand. Then what is one made of? One is made of shreds. One is made of goodness knows what, of jelly. It can't be explained. But is there no incentive, no will, nothing? Is there no inner dynamism?
Yeah, I don't know what to say to this because there's so many same errors. Talking about myself, I keep making again and again. I think this is needed, this kind of, I don't know, shaking up, waking up. And yet I often see, mostly a pendulum like movement. Like, one is saying that no, 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 and then one falls back again. And yeah. The mother is saying that if you make a mistake once and you know it, there's no reason, there's no sense in you making it again. And factually speaking, I guess using reason, it sounds that yes, that should be it. And yet there must be some weakness and more ignorance that mostly it isn't. And I think that is something we need to work on and transcend and progress towards. Yeah, so we'll take it again line by line, but before that, if there's any reflection on.
When I read this passage, I'm reminded of Einstein's saying, he had said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different result. So we want a different result, but we keep on doing the same thing And we expect that something will change in the process, but that for him was just insanity.
How this thought came up to mother? Because normally somebody asks some questions, and on the basis of that question, she replies to the point. But here, there is no reference to fall back into the errors. How this came up? Is a part of some lecture or something?
There was something I did find on similar lines while I was just, waiting for us, more of us to join in, but it wasn't this, but maybe there would be this too to get the background. So this is also, there is something that in which the error part is mentioned, and I thought it was nice about ignorance. Yeah, to fall back into error. So this, there are many questions here, sweet mother. How can one feel the divine presence constantly? So if this is here, it is this, but still this state of ignorance is in us. So she has responded to that. Maybe we can read through this also. And I can even try to find that the one we just read. It's all back. No, that I don't. At least I just see the one I have. Yeah.
I think maybe use different search terms because that heading is not given by the mother that is there in the
No,
Sunlit path.
I actually did this. It's into an. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I thought I was reading the first sentence. Yeah, see, I was not looking at this. Yeah, so here it is. So we can read the whole thing, or Monica, would you want to tell me where to start?
No, I think just take up that one. Is mother is commenting upon some questions on synthesis of yoga. So go to the last question where, yeah,
This
their
one,
mother. Yeah, after having understood, one falls back into this same old mistaken ways. What a pity. Yeah, and
It,
every day
I'm sorry, I don't see
more's the
where you
pity.
are.
Yeah, here the line that you have highlighted below that
Yeah.
only I'm
Okay,
reading.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so the question is that's what I am asking. Oh, you are asking me. Why to me it seems that when one has seen things in this way, well, if one has enough sensibility, one can no longer accept them as they are. One must truly be very insensitive if realizing to what an extent all this is degrading, one continues to accept it, and then it continues to the part that we were reading.
Mm.
I think the seeing in synthesis of yoga, there is also this part of purification. So the problem is that I don't see clearly. So mother is sharing that if one has seen things truly कि अच्छा ये mistake है, ये गलती है. The problem is that because our mind and seeing is clouded by our demands and expectations, it's like a curtain on my in front. So I don't see clearly, and that is why the error is not diagnosed, exact error. And one of the prerequisites is to become desireless. Slowly as we are traversing this journey, one of the main cornerstones is to become desireless. With desires, this path cannot be walked upon. So because desire is like a curtain in front of me, the moment I have any liking, preference, desires, I stop seeing. So that seeing is not there. So how would I recognize what was the mistake? And that's why I would continue to repeat the mistake. Because I'm not seeing. What I'm seeing is मेरी demand पूरी नहीं हुई है ना, मेरी जिद है, मेरी जिद नहीं पूरी हो रही, मेरे को दिख थोड़ी ना रहा है कि मैं गलती क्या कर रही हूँ, वो दिख जाए तो बात ही क्या हो. So that's, I feel that that's one of the weakness that I have, that I don't see clearly, because, and in those areas where there is no expectation, there you can see clearly. But areas where we have soft spots, or what can say, some fixed idea from this place, as if that fixed idea acts like I can't see. And if I can't see, you make the same error again and again, the same slippery slope, because you're not seeing that you are stepping into the same groove. And what is blocking the seeing is my own expectations and ideas from that situation. और जहाँ पे देख लेते हैं, जहाँ पे डिटैच्ड वे में देख लेते हैं, वहाँ पे हम प्रोग्रेस कर भी लेते हैं. अच्छा ये ऐसा हुआ, चलो ऐसे कर देते हैं. वेरी वेरी ऑब्जेक्टिवली वी आर एबल टू, लाइक अ साइंटिस्ट, डू इट. बट जहाँ पे हमारे एजेंडाज एसोसिएटेड होते हैं, वहाँ पे मुझे नहीं दिखता, या ये कह लो कि मैं देखना ही नहीं चाहती, क्योंकि जो मैं देखना चाहती हूँ पहले वो दिखाओ मुझे, मेरी जिद है ना. तो जिद की वजह से देर इज, एंड दिस Aurobindo talks about in Synthesis of Yoga, that this psychic prana he mentions, the word that he uses, it's like stickiness that we have. इस तरीके से होना चाहिए, ऐसे होना चाहिए. So that has to be, it's like a curtain, or one can say poison. That has to be purified from every aspect of our being. The intelligence, the will, buddhi, the seeing, the logical understanding, the sense mind, everything is as if poisoned by that stickiness. चाहिए वाली जो stickiness है, और चाहिए क्या, बिल्कुल ऐसे इस तरीके से चाहिए. So in that I don't see what is the error I am making. Actually I don't see. All that I see is कि जो चाहिए था वो नहीं मिल रहा, and I am just after it. And that's why I again and again I bang my head on the wall. Actually we do that, and bleed profusely. I can't see that what I am expecting from that particular situation cannot be have. It's not the design. वो नहीं दिखता है. तो जब वो नहीं दिखता है तो फिर बार बार, है ना कहीं मेरा विश्वास है कि वहीं से मिलेगा. और जब कोई मुझे बता रहा है कि एक्चुअली में यहाँ से नहीं मिलेगा, मैं बोलूँगी कैसे नहीं मिलेगा, मिलेगा, मुझे पता है मिलेगा. कहते हैं ना, उम्मीद पर दुनिया कायम है. तो ऐसे कि अच्छा तुमको नहीं मिला होगा, मुझे मिलेगा. So I again bang my head on the wall and I keep on banging. I'm bleeding profusely, but I keep on banging. So that's my situation, and because of that stubbornness, I'm making the same error, as mother says, again and again. It is a stupidity, but for the person who is banging his head on the wall for a long time, I don't see, one doesn't see that it's a mistake. वो सही लग रहा होता है, उस क्षण में वो सही लग रहा होता है ना, उस क्षण में वो ऐसा लग रहा होता है कि नहीं, मुझे यहीं जाना है. और इट्स आफ्टर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम दैट वी हैव डन दैट बैंगिंग, that we become convinced ki let us change the ways. So I feel because of that curtain, and what again mother was also reflecting upon through Synthesis of Yoga, we don't see. If I will see, I will make the correct thing and we try to fix. I personally see a haze. Whenever there is a confusion, there is something you want to resolve, somewhere there is some past impression which is overpowering, which you want to have in that situation, and because of that there is a haze in front. Actually you're confused, you can't see. I'm not able to see, and in that not seeing, the error is committed again and again. And what is not making me see is my desire to have the thing in that particular manner in which I want. and it's so challenging to leave it, to drop it. It's very hard because it's connected with our ego. One feels humiliated कि ये कैसे छोड़ दूं. That's what I feel.
Then come the last para. Last para also, I could not understand anything. Then what is one made of? One is made of threads. One is made of goodness knows what, of jelly. It cannot be explained. But is there no incentive, no will, nothing? Is there no inner dynamism? The incentive for what actually? This paragraph I could not.
Yeah, I think jelly and shreds, mother, usually it, my understanding is that it hints at that we are not unified. कोई पार्ट कुछ मांग रहा होता है, कोई पार्ट कुछ मांग रहा होता है ना? So that's why mother says unify yourself around the psychic being. कि सब साइकिक की बात सुने. अभी नहीं सुन रहे हैं ना, अभी इमोशंस कुछ और मांग रहे हैं, माइंड कुछ और मांग रहा है, साइकिक खुद कुछ और दिखा रहा है, लेकिन अभी व्हील अलाइनमेंट हुआ नहीं है. साइकिक दिखा रहा है दिशा, ऐसा नहीं है कि साइकिक बता नहीं रहा कि क्या ठीक है, बट अभी माइंड तैयार नहीं है अपनी पावर छोड़ने के लिए कि नहीं मैं हूं राजा, मेरी बात सुनी जाएगी. You know, so when everything is working in its own direction, it's like a jelly like mass. There is no unification in the being. कोई एक राजा नहीं है, 10 राजा हैं. तो जब 10 राजा हैं तो ईगो क्लैश है. इमोशन कह रहा है मैं ठीक है, रीजन कह रहा है मैं ठीक हूं. साइकिक तो ऑफ कोर्स द लाइट ऑफ साइकिक इज ऑलवेज देयर, बट इट डजंट से मैं ठीक हूं. इट जस्ट गाइड्स. And will again is usually will comes into picture when there is a unification, है ना? जब हमारा एक राजा होता है तो वो क्या कहता है, ओ जनता के लिए ये ठीक है, मैं एक एक्शन लूंगा, है ना? ही हैज दिस विल दैट पूरी जनता के उसी के हाथ में है. हमारी तो जनता किस अपनी अपने हाथ में है, सब अपने अपने राजा हैं हमारे अंदर, जो जनता है सारी. तो देर इज नो विल. एंड देर इज ऑल्सो नो इंसेंटिव इन द सेंस देर इज अ बैड टेस्ट दैट वी हैव. हमें ना गंदी चीजों का टेस्ट पड़ा हुआ है, तो वो टेस्ट छूटते छूटते बहुत टाइम लग जाता है. राइट, वी डोंट हैव टेस्ट फॉर हायर एंड लॉफ्टियर थिंग्स. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी डोंट हैव टेस्ट फॉर मेकिंग अवर अटेंशन कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड डीप इन अवर हार्ट. वी डोंट हैव टेस्ट फॉर दैट, है ना? वो 10 मिनट दिन में ठीक है, but after that we forget about it. Why? Because we can't tolerate that much of concentration. So the being is not prepared, that patrata is not there. And is there no inner dynamism? So dynamism also comes along with when there is a unification, then there is dynamic will. Okay, ye karte hain, you know, and sub parts keh rahe hain, haan ye karte hain, you know, mind, emotions and the body. Yeah. So yeah, I feel here it is a hint towards unification. That mother is asking कि कोई अंदर बैठा नहीं है, excuse me, knock knock knock, is there anyone home who can make a decision? You know, there is no one. There are 10 people and 10 people are saying 10 different things and there is no one leader there. So that's why the psychic has to become the leader. It has to come to front and everybody has to listen to the psychic. It takes long time because our tastes are bad. सो इंसेंटिव आई फील रेफरिंग ऑल्सो टू कि हमारा जो इंसेंटिव है वो है कि भाई कोई बंदा स्माइल कर दे, कोई बंदा हक कर दे, बट वो मेरा इंसेंटिव ठीक है. बट मदर के साथ कनेक्शन वो अभी मेरे को सूट नहीं करता. इट डजंट रेजोनेट विद मी. वो टेस्ट ही नहीं है मेरे पास. सो आई डोंट क्रेव फॉर दैट कनेक्शन विद द मदर. व्हाई? बिकॉज देयर इज नो इंसेंटिव. अगर आप ये बोलोगे ओ तेरे को वो बंदा मिलेगा, यू नो, देन मे बी देयर इज एन इंसेंटिव, यू नो, या वो जॉब मिलेगी, वो पोजीशन मिलेगी, देन आई फील मोटिवेटेड. बट मैं वो इफ कोई बोलेगा कि मदर के साथ कनेक्शन मिलेगा, तो मुझे लगता है ठीक है यार, मतलब पहले ये ले लूं, है ना? तो वो टेस्ट नहीं है हमारा. सो आई फील इट मे बी ऑल्सो अ रेफरेंस टू दैट. कि हमारा इंसेंटिव, इज देयर नो इंसेंटिव, नो विल, नथिंग, मतलब कोई है घर में समझदार बंदा कि नहीं है? हाँ, तो दूर से ऑफ कोर्स, मतलब इन डिवाइन कॉन्शियसनेस मदर कैन थिंक कि ये कैसे हो रहा है, बट हमें पता है हम कैसे कर रहे हैं सब कर रहे हैं, रोज कर रहे हैं. So, and in the earlier one that Taru had shared, उसमें ये भी लिखा हुआ है कि because you make it a normal thing, the synthesis of yoga, for us that becomes our normal. And mother says that should not be our normal. लेकिन हमारा अभी जो नॉर्मल चल रहा है उसकी मोमेंटम है, इट हैज गैदर्ड अ मोमेंटम, एंड दैट इज व्हाई जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ suffering and pain we turn our ways, otherwise we don't turn our ways. There was somewhere a word I see, I had seen, where mother says it becomes a normal. Maybe इसमें था या आपने जो पहले शेयर किया था ना उसमें कहीं पे था वो. Yeah, so this is normal to me. For mother, normal to her is कि अच्छा अगर चेंज चाहिए तो चेंज करो. हमारे लिए नॉर्मल है कि जो पुराना चल रहा है, इतना अच्छा टेस्ट तैलीय पदार्थों का, वो कैसे छोड़ दें? समोसा नहीं खाएंगे तो कैसे चलेगा? सो दैट्स व्हाई मदर इज शेयरिंग हियर कि मेरे लिए वो नॉर्मल नहीं है. टू मी नॉर्मल इज लाइक इन अदर एनेक्डोट मदर शेयर्स, टू मी द नॉर्मल इज इफ आई हैव decided I have to wake up at this point of time, then I just wake up. How is this possible that you don't wake up? तो मदर के लिए वो नॉर्मल है. एंड हमारे लिए क्या नॉर्मल है हमें पता है. तो हमारा जो नॉर्मल है उसका एक मोमेंटम है, उसे ही हम वृत्ति कहते हैं, उसे ही हम कंडीशनिंग कहते हैं. वो मोमेंटम धीरे धीरे हमारा पीछा छोड़ता है, और वो पीछा ऐसे नहीं छोड़ेगा, हमें आगे बढ़ना पड़ता है. वो पीछा नहीं छोड़ता. अगर हम वेट करते रहे ये जब मेरा पीछा छोड़ेगा तब मैं आगे बढ़ूंगी, तो फिर वो तो कभी नहीं छोड़ेगा. आप आगे बढ़ जाओ तो फिर वो पीछा छोड़ जाता है. जैसे darkness slipped like a falling cloak from the body of gods, something like that symbol dawn make. So the god is moving forward and the darkness slips from him, right? A cloak, falling cloak. So when we march forward, then these things slowly lose grip. But if we keep waiting that when will it lose grip, then I will make this decision which seems like good decision, वो कभी नहीं होगा. So decision आप पहले कर दो, जो अच्छा decision है वो वाला. जैसे वेरी गुड एग्जाम्पल इज, आपको कहीं जाना है और आपको पता है कि आपके लिए वहां जाना इट्स राइट, उचित जाना है. तो आई एम शेयरिंग रिफ्लेक्शन फ्रॉम अगेन माई पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस दैट व्हाट आई डू इज, मैंने ऑलरेडी वो टाइम दे दिया. अब मुझे नहीं पता मैं कैसे मैनेज करूंगी. मैंने उसको टाइम दे दिया कि एट दिस टाइम आई विल बी देयर, या आई बुक्ड माई टिकट, that at this moment I am going to be there with you. Now how will I manage? I have not any idea so far, but somehow there is a faith that if it has to happen, unfolding will take us there, है ना. तो आप पहले वो चॉइस मेक करते हो. द राइट चॉइस हैड टू बी मेड फर्स्ट. वो बाद में होता है कि अच्छा बाकी चीजें कैसे अनफोल्ड होंगी, छोटी 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 निटी ग्रिटीज. चाय कौन पिलाएगा आपके पीछे, रोटी कौन बनाएगा आपके पीछे, वो सारी चीजें बाद में होती हैं. क्योंकि अगर आप ये सोचते रहो कि यार मैं इसलिए नहीं तेरे को कमिट कर पा रही क्योंकि ना पीछे मुझे चाय बनानी होती है और रोटी बनानी होती है, मैं आई एम अगेन टॉकिंग फ्रॉम माई ओन स्फेयर, तो फिर आप वो कभी नहीं कर पाओगे. क्योंकि चाय और रोटी कभी आपका पीछा नहीं छोड़ेंगी. बॉडी जब तक है चाय और रोटी रहेगी. जब आप डिसाइड कर लोगे कि हाँ ये मुझे करना ही करना है, तो फिर चाय और रोटी भी मैनेज हो जाती है. I don't know why I was sharing all this.
I do want to say that when you witness something like this, say I am in your house and I see that you're telling me that, okay, I have to do this, and then a phone call comes, okay, hey, somebody, you are needed there. Somebody has any issue, can you meet me at 5? And without a second's pause, you usually say yes. And here I'm sitting that abhi to ye 6 cheezein karni thi, right? There were 6 things that were lined in front of you. How would you do that? I used to ask you, but how will you go? And you would be like that, I don't know, but it has to be done. And you would go and everything would be managed fine behind you, right? Because you didn't, I don't know, whatever. But when you see this, it feels nothing short of a miracle, that this is also a possibility. Because usually we see that how will I adjust, right? Okay, these are the things that are already there. There's no freshness, right? There's no as such कि okay, जहाँ ज़रूरत है. It's mostly this is my structure and let me see if I can fit this in. That's the regular attitude, and it's not that fluidic. So when we see such a movement, it's very inspiring.
There are 2 points which came to my mind. One is that ignorance is there in the world, one understands. One is the habit of doing them. It is ignorance, one does not know that it ought to be otherwise. But the moment the knowledge is there, the light is there, the moment one has seen the thing as it is, how can one do it again? That I do not understand. So actually I read somewhere, the ignorance is there, so we do not know because we have never had the taste of light. So the Ramakrishna Paramahansa says, for thousands of years, that room was totally dark. But the moment you switch on the light, and it vanishes in that fraction of a second, actually, the darkness goes. It doesn't take much time, so much long time to darkness to be removed. So it comes immediately because the moment you have switched on the light and that darkness has gone. So this was one thought which was coming to me. Because there is some indication, but the moment the knowledge is there, the light is there. And the moment one has seen the thing as it is, how can one do it again? So this was one thought was coming. And secondly, the one story, beautiful story. In Calcutta, the busy road in the evening, rather in the night, there are 5 chaps, drunkard. They got drunk and they were talking and going back home, 5 together, all the 5 friends. So then at a distance, they saw the police chap, the traffic police. And there was a junction. In that junction, there was a police chap, somebody has noted. Then say, stop, stop. One person says, stop, stop. So they stopped. They say that, then if you're going this way, and since you are not walking properly, so we'll be caught and again we'll put behind the bus. So the one says that then let us think for a solution. So then they started thinking. One person says, I've got some idea. This is what is the idea. He says, I will become a dead body, and all 4 of you carry me on your shoulder. And Ram Nam Satya Hai, Ram Nam Satya Hai, aise karte karte, then we'll cross that place. And once we cross that place, police chowki, and then again we'll be on our foot and we'll go back home. Everybody says, this is very good idea, very good idea. We must meet him there. So this time he was dead. The person who was proposed, he became dead and they were carrying him. Now, once they came to that junction, there are 4 directions. So since they are drunk, the place where the burning hut they have to go, so nobody knew. So they say that, see, this is the way we have to go. Other person is telling, no, this is the way. This is the way. So like that, they were arguing and they were pulling the body this side, that side. So all the 4 directions, that body was being pulled up. So he was tolerating, the person who was dead, he was tolerating after some time. But when it became intolerant, so then he says, why are you pulling me apart? They say that we wanted to go to Kavdatala. Kavdatala is the place. But everybody is saying that these different directions. They say, I know. They say, why are you not telling? We are pulling you apart. Why are you not telling? He says, because I am dead. I am the dead body. I cannot speak. So once we are in the darkness, and actually we do not distinguish between the light and darkness. So we are happy with the darkness itself. We do not want to come out of it. We are enjoying the darkness. Thank you.
You know what you were the paragraph that you had highlighted about ignorance and uh, light when it comes. The thing is that ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको एक बार दिख गया तो मतलब दिखना शुरू हो गया. All of us have wisdom. In moments of our lives we have wisdom, but in moments of our life we are ignorant, totally drenched in ignorant. So the point is to have that stability completely in that light. जो आप डार्कनेस की बात कर रहे थे कि हाँ इतने टाइम से कमरा डार्क था अब लाइट आ गई, ऐसा नहीं है कि हम सबको लाइट नहीं आती फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम, सबको आती है, बट वो उस समय आती है, बट देन द नेक्स्ट नॉर्मल फॉर मी इज अगेन बैक टू डार्कनेस, व्हाट यू वर शेयरिंग, यू नो द स्टोरी फॉर एग्जांपल. So when darkness becomes my normal, when ignorance becomes my normal, that normal has to change. मतलब उसको स्टेबल करना है लाइट को. और किसी मोमेंट में जैसे वो लाइट आती है, यू नो मदर इज शेयरिंग दैट the moment the knowledge is there, the light is there, the moment one has seen the thing as it is, how can one do it again? I personally can do it again because the curtain comes again. Vigilance is not there and the curtain comes again. Realization is not concrete. Practical realization कुछ नहीं हुई है ना, क्योंकि practical जब realization हो जाती है तो फिर आप वहां से बार बार सरकते नहीं हो. लेकिन अभी अगर हल्का सा पर्दा दिखा है, थोड़ा सा ग्लिम्स तो सबको दिखते हैं ना, यू नो वी ऑल हैव इंट्यूटिव इनसाइट्स, बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं है दैट वी आर लिविंग इन द इंट्यूटिव माइंड. तो we have to make, I feel, these realizations more concrete and practical. क्योंकि लाइट है मेरे जीवन में, बट टाइम टू टाइम इग्नोरेंस है, क्योंकि वो बार बार पर्दा आ जाता है और पर्दा मेरे लिए एक नॉर्मल जीवन है ना. ऐसा नहीं है कि लाइट नहीं है, जिस मोमेंट में लाइट होती है उसमें मेरे को दिखता है, लेकिन कुछ एक पार्ट होता है अंदर तो छुपा हुआ होता है, उस पर वो डिजायर का कुछ यू नो कर्टन पड़ा हुआ, वो नहीं दिख रहा और ना ही मैं देखना चाह रही हूँ. So at the same time, Sri Aurobindo had shared, you know, once he was undergoing a dark period of depression. And he said, during that time, I was giving advice to so many people. As if there is a partition, some part in you is dark, you know, unresolved, something is not clear, depressed also. And a part is completely separate and it can see the light. तो ऐसा भी होता है, मतलब ये नहीं है कि जीरो बिल्कुल ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट है ना, वी आर मिक्स्ड एलिमेंट्स विद इन.
It is like satsang. We go to the satsang and the mind is totally charged. And the moment you come out of it and enter my family, then the satsang has gone.
Yeah, satsang has not gone completely, but it has left its trace and the older nature has come back and it will occupy its space. Older nature आएगा ही आएगा, क्योंकि योगा, इंटेग्रल योगा में तो काम ही हमारा ओल्डर नेचर को चेंज करना है, लोअर नेचर को चेंज करना है, तो उसको कहाँ भगा देंगे हम, है ना. तो वो आके अपनी जगह लेता है, वो कहता है मेरे को कहाँ छोड़ के जाओगे आगे, है ना. बच्चा होता है ना, छोटा बच्चा, आप हम सेशन ले रहे होते हैं, बच्चे आके बैठ जाते हैं, कहते हैं हाँ हमें भी बिठाओ. वो क्यों जाएं, उनका हक बनता है. तो ओल्डर लोअर नेचर, उसका हक बनता है वहां आना. एंड दैट इज वाई श्री अरबिंदो टॉक्स अबाउट द डिसेंट. First of all, you ascend to get the higher light, and because the lower cannot go up with you, psychic can turn up, spirit can go up, but the lower cannot go up with you. So what will you do? You will bring that light down for the lower. कि ये बैठे हैं basement में, इनको change करना है. You know, that's where we talk about the descent. Climb हम करेंगे और climbing part हमको दिया हुआ है the psychic. It's the psychic, the inner being that climbs up. It knows the value of climbing up. And then it brings the lower higher light into the lower neither members, कि thought भी change हो, feeling भी change हो, आलस भी change हो, जो आप कह रहे हो, you know, the older nature is back. Day to day interactions भी change हो, उसमें भी पवित्रता आए, क्योंकि वो ऊपर नहीं जा सकते, है ना. वो एस्पायर कर सकते हैं, एस्पिरेशन हो सकती है आउटर नेचर में, बट वो ऊपर चढ़ने का काम साइकिक का और इनर बीइंग का काम है, ऊपर चढ़ने का. Why? It's like magnet and iron fillings. a portion of divine is given to us. यहाँ पे चिपका दिया, छोड़ दिया, यहाँ पे वो है मैग्नेट है, यहाँ पे आयरन फिलिंग्स छोड़ दी. हाँ, ऊपर मेरे मैग्नेट है, यहाँ पे तुमने आयरन फिलिंग्स छोड़ दी. तो जैसे जैसे सफाई होगी उन आयरन फिलिंग्स की, ऊपर से कचड़ा हटेगा, वो आयरन फिलिंग्स अपने आप ऊपर की तरफ जाएंगी. चारा ही नहीं है कोई. दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल डिवोशन टू द डिवाइन. वी ऑल हैव. और फिर वो उसको नीचे लाएगा, लाइट को, ताकि जो ओल्डर नेचर है वो भी अपना बिहेवियर थोड़ा सुधारे, चेंज करे, है ना? क्योंकि वो भी तकलीफ में ही तो है बेचारा. I look at my face in the mirror when I'm troubled with the outer nature, and it's pathetic. It's troubled. Poor guy is troubled. I have to again and again, like, ये बार बार ना सीधा करना पड़ता है. यहाँ पे टेंशन आ जाती है, लाइंस आ जाती है. And then I look at my face and what's happening. But what can be done? It is like that. It takes time to change. Poor fellow, waiting for the change to happen. So it's up to us, when the moment we keep connecting with the inner being, which has a natural devotion and aspiration for the light, it goes up and does the reform below.
There is a very good phrase in the Gita, I think it's chapter 10, verse 11. It really stayed with me. It's called Kampan Artham. Kampana is compassion. And Krishna says that, out of the compassion for the individual, for the human beings, I come down and relieve their suffering and, become a lamp to take them out of ignorance. So that was really beautiful. Anukampa, I think. Anukampa, it said. And, it stays with me so much because, when Monica was sharing about the lower nature, and of course it troubles you so much that constantly you have to keep, working so hard, and you feel, oh my God, I've failed again, I failed again. And if there's only one thing you're working on, doesn't happen. But then this aspect of God's compassion, Mother's compassion, Lord's compassion, I get reminded with it, like the Anukampa of her. And there's so many times when I can see my faults. So I think the biggest mistake we all do is that we try to be a very good, even in front of her, we try appear that we are faultless or, very good. We even try to hide our faults even in front of her or even in front of divine. So the Anukampa actually cannot work. The compassion cannot work because if you're not even revealing our faults to her, thinking, oh, okay, I can show all this, but maybe not this part, I cannot share it with her, but she can see everything, right? So sometimes there's a big challenge and it's very hard, and sometimes I feel like it's really hard. I know it has come for my progress, but sometimes I just say to her that, I am not able to do it at this moment. I know it has come for my progress, but somehow I'm not able to do this. I'm trying, but it's really giving me pain. I'm not really able to do. And I've seen in life that circumstance completely changes. It just goes away. As if she's saying, okay, my dear child, it's okay. I know that will come back, maybe another form in which I'm ready. My readiness will actually it will come back in different way. And I have to deal with it, but the form changes. And I think that's where the Anukampa or the compassion brings in. So I think that's also very important sometimes. And I keep reminding myself that, okay, I'm not, the only thing I can do is sit in front of her, tell that, this is, these are my faults, and she knows, of course, but, I'm offering it to you. And the compassion always helps. So that's really interesting. And there was also an Alokdas, the extent to that, we know there is compassion, but to what extent that compassion can go. There was Alokdas, the talk I was listening, and she was telling about somebody in the ashram. And in ashram, that mother said to that devotee, don't get married. So you should not get married. I think he was the student. And he fell in love with a woman and said, Mother, I've fallen in love with this woman and I want to get married to her. And mother actually said, you please don't get married. And mother said, okay, my dear child, if you have fallen in love, you can get married, but don't have children. Imagine that person gets married and tells mother, we still want to remain in the ashram. I think in that time, people who get married, they could also remain in in certain. Mother allows even that. And I was, my God, look at her compassion. That's so much. And then she says, don't get married, don't have children. After a few years, the devotee goes to her mother. My wife is actually wants children, and we want to have a child. So she signed, and she said, okay. And she just said, okay. No, my God, I said you got married, this. She said, okay, but only one. And he decides to actually have a child. And then imagine, he even goes after a few years, and mother, my wife wants the second child. Can I please have the second? And she said, no more, no more. But you know what Alokda was actually trying to say is that she understands us, and that's really important. And I forget sometimes, many times, that she really understands, and her compassion is bigger than my fall. Every fall I make, her compassion is so big. So, and that shlok is also very, very beautiful. 11, chapter 10 in Gita, if somebody wants to check out. And yeah, so just that wanted that sometimes in our effort of changing the lower nature, I always like tell myself that her compassion is so much bigger than my effort. And if I just can, keep thinking about that. And of course, our evolution will depend on our aspiration and intensity. And if we really want to progress higher, we really have to keep intensifying. But some of the days I generally cannot. And I sometimes say, okay, like maybe it will be slow, but you're there, right? I'll hold your hand, and maybe it will take 100 lifetimes, not 10. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
Yes, thank you, Nandini. When I heard this story and when I heard that he wants another, I was like, oh my God, this is not happening. But yet, this is what we do, right? Like, and I think what we were just reading, this passage is also reflective of that, right? We keep making the same mistakes again and again, and like there's no end to the desire. Like, I was very surprised, but then I turned it within and realized that no, it's not that surprising. Yeah. And what you shared about hiding it, right? Like, because, and you said she can still look at it, but how we hide our mistakes or our inner, lower movements. So she can look at it, the divine knows, the divine can, but the point is that in my cleverness to hide it, I hide it even from myself, right? And then if I'm hiding it, how will light fall on it? And I think that is why, there are so many incidents where it was mentioned that when you come to meet me, right, show me the trash, show me the things that you're hiding in your closet so that I can do something about it. And it's not that she can't see, it's that I can't see, because when I hide, like a dodo, I close my eyes, that if I can't see the thread does not exist. I think that's very beautiful. And when you were sharing and when Monica was sharing this, there was some not directly related and yet I think touching the same thing in Savitri, Canto Book 1, Canto 3. There's this few passages which are really beautiful. Again, talking about how one, is toiling and one has to reach somewhere. So if anybody wants to read this, we can just take it up. Yeah.
I'll read it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Jagan, please go ahead.
Jagan, you can read. Yeah.
A long, dim preparation is man's life, a circle of toil and hope and war and peace, tracked out by life on matters obscure ground. In his climb to a peak no feet have ever trod, he seeks through a penumbra shot with flame, a veiled reality half known, ever missed, a search for something or someone never found, cult of an ideal never made real here. an endless spiral of ascent and fall, until at last is reached the giant point through which his glory shines, for whom we were made, and we break into the infinity of God. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jatin. I mean, really, really beautiful lines, and I think we can read it so many more times to just feel the beauty. You know, a long, dim preparation is man's, right? Like how the word dim, that how when mother in her passage is saying that, how do you do it? There is a dimness, there is a dullness, right? In me, I'm not sharp, although I claim to be very intelligent and whatnot. So, a circle of toil and hope and war and peace, right? Like in me, around me, dragged out by life on matter's obscure ground, in his climb to a peak no feet have ever. It appears, right, that I have to, so much is being asked of me. How can I do this? How can I do this? Because this one, a veiled reality, half known, ever missed. Again, very reflective of the passage that we were reading. That how do we miss it? How come we don't know it? Those were small errors, and here it's about even bigger things, but I think they are all the same. So, veiled reality half known, ever missed. The search for something or someone never found. And where I'm searching, there's 100% certainty I will not find it there. And yet, like Monica was talking about, there's a stubbornness that I have to find it and I'll find it right here. And I call myself, again, see, this is my passion, this is my cleverness, and yet there's something I have to go through to realize that no, not. An endless spiral of ascent and fall until we reach a giant and we break into the infinity of God. And even, this one across our nature's border, how we say, this is me, this is how I act, this is what makes me happy, this makes me sad, this is my pattern. So across our nature's borderline, we escape into the supernature's arc of living. Yeah. A lot further down, even very reflective of what we were reading. Yeah. But I'll stop here. Anything before we just take it up line by line, although we have discussed it, but just look at it more. Okay, so we will take it. So the passage is to fall back into error, to fall back into an error which one knows to be an error, to make a mistake once again, which one knows to be a mistake. This seems to me fantastic. So what we were discussing was that we know and yet we don't know, right? We keep denying it or we keep closing our eyes that no, no, no. This can't be a mistake. It's a simple demand. It's a simple desire. And it seems so hit me, right? It seems so auspicious that, oh, this must happen. So I think this is the thing that I don't know. Otherwise, if one truly knows, for sure one cannot fall. And if one is falling, I think the reverse would also be true, that one can conclude that means I don't yet know my mistake or my error, or I'm not acknowledging it. So it is a long time, well, at least relatively by human reckoning, it is a long time I have been on earth and I have yet not been able to understand that. It seems to me impossible. So for mother, it's impossible, and this is how we do it. But yeah, not going there because we have to put more light through this on us. The wrong thoughts, wrong impulses, inner and outer falsehood, things which are ugly, base, so long as one does them or has them through ignorance. Ignorance is there in the world. One understands. One is in the habit of doing them. It is ignorance. One does not know that it ought to be otherwise. A lot of times in our lives, we feel we don't have a choice. We feel we cannot question, we cannot challenge, we cannot change ourselves and others, or the situation, or the family, or the way we are moving. And we don't know that there are other possibilities, or we refuse to look at them because the energy, the strength, the faith required to move towards the other is very strong. And we often, want comfort more than what's right. And yet we all have a journey, right? We have to reach there and we take our time. And when it is our time, we do make that move. And yet Mother is saying we can be faster about it, right? If we really see things for what they are, it would not be possible, it should not be possible to repeat those things. So it is ignorance. One does not know that it ought to be otherwise. But the moment the knowledge is there, the light is there, the moment one has seen the thing as it is, how can one do it again? That I do not understand. So that means either we are not seeing or we are just too dull to make the movement. So, and of course, there would be more possibilities. We've already discussed this. And then what is one made of? One is made of shreds. One is made of goodness knows what, of jelly. We have again taken this up, and yet, like how when I saw the word shreds, it's like, how paper is shredded. So how we were talking about unity. So there's no unity, right? Too much division. And say, if I look at a A4 sheet paper, a thick one, the strength it has, if I bend it, it will just stand up. But if I shred it with the shredder, I bent it and it's gone, right? I bent it and I throw it, I crush it. It's so easily crushable. It doesn't have any life or force of its own. So I'm not a A4 sheet, I'm my shreds of that A4. And jelly again, when I read the word jelly is like again, very gooey, soft, like it's like spineless. Right? Do I not have strength in me? Do I not have the, how it says, right? There's no incentives, no will, nothing. And the word incentive, again, I don't know, felt more like aim, that what am I living towards? What am I walking towards? And if there is nothing, there is no aim, I don't walk, right? So like we were discussing for a few of us over there in the harmony circle, like when one doesn't have an aim, it's like, the boat is in the waters and one is not heading towards anywhere because one honestly really doesn't know where to head. So either one just lets the boat freely flow wherever, but mostly what we do is we just put that boat in contact with another boat that seems to be going somewhere, not caring, not really seeing where they are going, but just because I can't decide and somebody else seems to make decisions and know what they are doing, I just hang around and then I keep crying that, oh my God, what's happening in my life? All is monotonous. This doesn't make sense. There's no purpose. But when I ask myself, okay, what do you want to do? Then I'm again dull, right? Nothing. So it sounds funny, and yet that's what a lot of us do. We don't reach, we don't grab, we don't reach towards what we think is the right thing, is the courageous thing, is auspicious, is my calling. I just hang around because it's just what I'm used to. And again, the word comfortable. Khalil Gibran, I think I referred to it before too, but I really find it that Khalil Gibran has said that comfort kills the passion of the soul. Like it kills. The soul wants to do this. And there's a voice that, but what about, I don't know, the filtered water, or what about this? How will I get that? And suddenly the rage with, the energy with which I want to do something, my ifs and buts and doubts and adherence to comfort, that but how will I do it? Oh, I'm so little. Oh, I'm so used to these things, which I think I'm used to. It stops us right there. And again, after 2 years, 2 months, we would say, no, I want it. And so it's again, more of a development for us rather than, okay, digya and done, digya and done. But we must sharpen ourselves, we must look at things more clearly, and probably then we would be able to be truly intelligent, truly wise as we claim we are, and yet our lives, our patterns, our habits indicate very clearly, show us very clearly that that's not the case. At least that honesty helps, right? That okay, kitne pani mein hai, so that one can start, paddling, waddling, swimming, floating towards something that seems to be more than the mundane that I'm used to, the nothingnesses which hold so much value to me. Honestly, they do. Yeah.
This very time we often use, like in this session, you've talked about a lot, having an aim in life. Mother speaks a lot. And even myself, for example, and like all of us, I presuming, including myself, and sometimes, what is your aim in life? It looks a very daunting question. What is my aim? And mother is saying, have an aim, because your life will depend on it, so your quality of life. And like I have a friend who is also on the path, and something very beautiful I learned from her, I've carried in my heart. And I asked her that, like I discussed with her, like this, she's not on integral yoga, she's more in Buddhism, but yeah, still. And I asked her, what do you think is your aim in life? And she looked at me and she said, right now what is my aim is not to complain for next 6 days, not to complain at all with my weather, with my kids. I'm a cleanliness freak. So if I see small thing, I start saying, this is not done, this is not done. And again, I come back to my breath. But for 6 days, my aim is not to complain. And I was amazed. I said, wow, this also can be an aim. I keep saying, oh, I have to unite with the divine, do integral yoga, which I'm not ready for it. Like if we are sincere, like being honest, right now my being is not ready for it. What my being at the moment is ready is actually to like maybe do this, a thing that you said is bigger than me. So really, I feel having an aim in life is such a big thing, and for each one of us it is different. For her it was not complaining, for me it could be not eating after 7, and 9, which I'm struggling for a lot of time because I have an eating of snacking in the night time when I do my work. So, and because the aim is to make this body capable of serving the divine, which is the motive behind it. But can I just break this? What is the aim of life? And small aims of life then become unified. Maybe for 6 days I feel happy. And I was also listening to Tara Di, she was actually there was a very nice, I can even share it, the video in Nainital. She was doing an interview and she said, mother used to, we used to talk a lot, so all used to get up and we used to disturb Pranabda, who used to rest in the office. So what mother did was that she actually made card games for us. So she used to actually make flowers and write the significance of it, the significance, the flower, and the botanical name. And she used to give it to us, and then she made all other people who are very good artists to draw it on the cards, and we had like 400 500 cards and used to play with it. And whenever used to play, she used to give us gifts. She used to always give us prizes, always. And she used to even play with us. And that fight, wow, mother used to do it. She was so busy. She used to play. Then one day I said, mother, look, I also will learn, maybe for next 10 days, I can start learning because I'm fond of gardening and flowers. So maybe I'll also learn 10 flower name and this, and will you give me a gift too if I do it? And that kind of really propelled me that okay, I need to learn, because maybe then mother will give me. Now it might not be right because you say transactional, but this is another way of relating with the divine, that how we can put a name and the divine can revert back to the name. So I just wanted to say that, because we've spoken so many times of having a name, but what is the aim? We all get hey, aim so big, but these small aims, anything, each to their own. Maybe a hobby, maybe in our lower nature want to change. Like I had a habit of lying a lot, like white lies, like this and that. And now I've seen that I still do, but like whenever I do, I'm conscious. And sometimes I remember one day I lied about something with my partner only. I was asking something. I said, did that happen? I said, yeah. It was but it was a lie. It wasn't. And I remember it pained me so much. I couldn't sleep that night. And I was saying, Mother, I lied again. I lied again. It was a small lie, but I lied. It never used to happen 5 months ago. But that was also a dawning moment that this can also become an aim of my life, not to lie for a week, for a month, maybe not a lifetime. So yeah, just wanted to say that, because we keep discussing aim, and I understand even for me it becomes quite daunting.
I was remembering, I read one book, say about 3-4 years back, The Complaint-Free World. So there actually you're talking about 6 days, but it was for 21 days. And that book, anybody reads, the person will be changed actually if they try to follow. It is very, very simple, but it is very difficult. Very difficult to follow. There should not be any complaint. I should not complain about anything, neither the nature nor the person or enemy or whoever may be. I should not complain. It's a very big thing actually. It changes the life. Entire life will be changed if somebody can do it for 21 days. So even 6 days or even one day also will not be able to succeed if we try. But the great change will take place in me if we try to that. I want to leave because you will have so much of relaxation in our life, because majority of the time goes only the blaming somebody or the nature or something, and that spoils the mind actually. So the total my personal psychology will change if we follow this complaint-free world. That book is not very big book, but it has got a lot of things. It was done, and it was done through the church, the Christians, those who believe in the Christians and all, because the procedure was that you have to put a band on your hand, and from that moment when you put the band, your time starts for 21 days. So the rule is that if tomorrow after one day, if you have again blamed somebody, means complained somebody, then again you have to change the band to the other hand, and your time starts now, restarts now. So like that, people have completed within 2-3 years, and somebody could not complete actually in the lifetime this complaint-free world. You should be a totally changed person by then if you have done this. Hardly anybody could do it within 21 days. Everybody shared their experiences to that writer when he was writing this book, and all the experiences, how they are feeling for not complaining. Then comes the gossiping and things like that. Everything comes in that. So wonderful.
Actually, the last time I attended this Friday session, it was the line of Mother was, if you are complaining, then you're not doing the practice. So that's coming back to me. And I loved what Nandini said about having a doable aim rather than a larger aim. And I think that's very that's very motivational, and it's very practical. And also what Taru said about feeling like a ship, that isn't really going anywhere, and then you just attach yourself to the nearest ship. And I think that also spoke to me, because I feel like I'm at that stage now of my life when I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, and now what's next? So there's no aim. Like, it's like all those aims are done, like they're done and over now. So now what's next now? Bache bade ho gaye, everything is done now. So what's next? So I think I have been catching on to the next ship and going with whoever needs me. You know, I go and I help them or I do their work or. But what is it that I need to do? And when I was reading, when I entered the meeting today, and you were reading out that part about how is it possible that you can make the same mistake, and I was thinking, but you know, I feel very very far from that stage that she's talking of, because you know you're repeating the mistakes and you know that you're not moving towards your higher, and sometimes. Uh, like Nandini was saying, you know that there is an aspiration that you have to work towards something higher, but you don't. You don't know how to do it. Sometimes you just leave it to mother, like you said. And I think today for me, that what Monica said, that there are parts of you that do see the light, and then perhaps you can use those parts to illuminate the other sides. And coincidentally today, you know, that email that comes from MS Srinivasan, he talked about a similar thing. So he talks about how in Sri Aurobindo's vision, the inner realization has to express and manifest itself in the outer world for an eventual realization of the kingdom of God on earth. So it's not just enough to attain that state inside you, but you have to manifest it in the outside world. So the mystic is not an impractical dreamer. He seeks for a concrete inner realization of his spiritual ideals in his consciousness. So it's not an abstraction that you achieve it and then it doesn't come down in your real life. So I think for me, what Monica said and what this email said was, it really makes sense, you know, that we are aspiring for something to reach a higher level. I don't know what that level is. I don't know if I'll get there. But I know that there are parts of me, there are times that I do feel connected with a higher reality. And perhaps I can use those parts of me that, you know, have seen something to illuminate the other side of me. For instance, I don't know yet what my aim is, but I know that I'm motivated to do things for people I love. So perhaps I can use that motivation or that light or, you know, the love as a motivation for my next aim, or, you know, to put it to some good use. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ekta. You know, it's also very beautiful to expand the circle, right? Like I say, I love the people I love, and usually they're a handful, right? But I can also expand, and my love will expand, and that also gives us a lot of time new aims and goals. And it's beautiful reminder to have smaller goals, you know. And yet I feel that even if I'm capable of making, you know, smaller goals, I have to have, there must be a bigger goal, like say in Nandini's friend's example. Maybe she wants less drama. Maybe she wants a simpler life. Maybe she's working on her anger. So there's always something bigger that helps us, give us small things that will take us towards that. It doesn't just happen that, okay, because otherwise it would not give us anything. We would not feel motivated to do it if there's nothing higher there which I am walking towards. Like if I say that, okay, just take 2 steps, I would say 2 steps where? You know, just 2 steps, just take 2 steps, 2 steps, 2 steps, but 2 steps where? So if there is something which is 2000 steps away, and yet if I'm taking 2 steps towards it, I would feel okay, you know, this was something I did to move towards, closer to that. But yeah, 2 steps anywhere can also help if somebody is sitting totally lazy and not moving. So yeah, maybe that too would help, but it's much more, feels much more powerful and effective when there's something one is walking towards. One might not know how to put it in words, and yet we know, right? Like say maybe just moving towards, like I was saying, a simpler life, less drama is a very big aim. It's not, it seems like कि अरे ये क्या aim हुआ, right? इसमें तो कुछ concrete है ही नहीं. But ये जो letting go है इतनी सारी चीजों की, which is making less baggage, I mean, I am carrying. Yes.
I remember when I was doing this Art of Living course, there was one activity they had given us, and they said that do 5 good things every day till we meet next to strangers. And I generally don't mingle much outside of my circle, and I'm quiet and I can be a little introvertish. And that was a difficult task for me. Um, but I started from when I used to go to the clinic. There was this watchman of the building, and I've never acknowledged him. So, it starts from those kind of stuff that you do for people you've not interacted with, or people, somebody, like I remember during that week, if somebody is trying to overtake on the road or cut in, I would give them access. Or if somebody is like getting into a building, like such small things, like I would wait and keep the door open. Or when you're going inside, you're already in the lift and you see somebody's coming from far. You know how people sometimes just quickly close because they want to reach quickly. And what is it? A matter of few seconds, right? So those kind of stuff, like, which I never considered, I would kind of wait on for others to catch up with. Um, and what I realized after doing that for a week, till we met next, was um, we are in the illusion that, okay, I'm a very good person because I do this for my mom, I gift my sister, and we don't do to humanity overall. Like, we're so happy to be in that comfortable circle of people. And and that true happiness comes when you do for somebody who's not connected to you. It kind of brought about a big change to understand happiness, the concept of happiness, bliss. And yet, I mean, this is just one step forward, but it was such an amazing activity. Um, and I now that I'm remembered, I think I should keep doing that. Um, unless these things bring about a massive transformation, I don't think it's supposed to be like done for a week only. And I think that's when it actually touches and impacts our lives.
Yes, Deepa, thank you. Sri Aurobindo has said that when we move beyond individualizing, then we shall become real people, real persons. Ego is the helper, ego is the bar. So, yeah, this, individualizing, this just me and my small world and my 6, 8 people. It gives us a high, right? That, oh, I'm doing so much. And when one realizes what one is capable of, there's a lot of beauty one invites in one's life. So it's good to be reminded of again and again. So we can just quickly read one paragraph. I think there was something about truth, the same thing that we are not able to do it because we don't see it. Where did I see it? Yeah, so here it is. See, here it says, once when one is in the truth, how does one manage to come out of it again? And it said that quite simply, I think Mother says that quite simply, it's that you have not entered totally into the truth, and only one part of yourself has had the experience, and the others don't yet have it. And then you don't remain in this part of yourself which had the experience and begin to live in other parts which do not have it yet. And all these parts must have this experience one after another. Just, knowing that I'm not one, I'm many. I have so many, shades of me inside me. A lot of times I keep pushing a lot of shades which I don't like under the carpet, under the closet. But if I acknowledge, okay, this too lives in me, this too lives in me, I might want to offer it, transcend it, and that's when things change and I invite more truths, honesty, simplicity, love, gratitude, giving in my life. And that's a beautiful life. So I think I am done at my end. Today we did this passage, we have covered it, to fall back into error. And the next passage we'll be taking next week is strengthen the will. So that's a beautiful, continuity after to fall back into the error, because a lot of times it's the will which is not. Yeah. If there's any last comments, we can take them. Otherwise, okay. So just taking a few moments to thank grace, thank the divine for these words of light, aspiring that they help me transcend my errors, help me live, not just think or imagine, but help me live a better, simpler, more joyous, more giving life. May all beings be well, and truly happy. And may we all have better, bigger, larger, more expanded aims, so that all our lives can find a direction, all our boats can find our own directions towards which we were built to sail. Thank you so much for joining in, and yeah, see some of us next week.